is with us this morning. Born in Nigeria, right, Ime?
Yes, sir.
Wow. What was it? When did you come to Arkansas?
Well, I've been here since 2002.
2002. So
Yes.
you were how old when you came here?
I had just turned 21.
Well, what is the difference between Nigeria and Arkansas besides the spelling?
Well, I mean, the weather is different. There is tropical rainforest, so
Right.
you get the only two seasons. You got the wet season and the dry season.
That's it, huh?
That's it.
That's
you
it.
know,
Wet and dry.
Wet and dry, yeah.
Is that the main difference? I mean, besides the.
I mean, that's just one of them.
One
I
of
mean, there's a lot of cultural differences as well.
You think? Yeah. You're liking it, okay?
Yes, absolutely.
So,
Yes,
well,
absolutely.
you have written a book.
Yes.
Are you a pastor or
I am a minister.
a minister?
Yes.
And you have written a book, and it's available at Barnes & Noble and all over the world, Amazon, everywhere else. And the title of the book is Forgiveness in the Church and in the American Society. And from what I understand from talking to you earlier, what this book is about is if the church can't learn to do things right, nobody else is going to learn to do things right.
Right. If the church can hardly get it together on forgiveness, and the church is the light of the world, if the church can't hardly get it together on forgiveness, what's the hope of the world?
I understand because that's as we mentioned. If you're watching your children, your children are watching the parents fight.
Yes.
They're going to fight too.
Yes, yes.
I mean,
yes.
as far as the church needs to set a forgiveness example
Right.
for everyone.
For the rest of society to follow. And so the rest, I mean, the second part of the book is where I talk about the criminal justice system and its condemnation of ex-prisoners and felons. I believe that they need to do a better job of helping them transition back into society. Again, this is a Judeo-Christian roots nation. Our roots are steeped in Hebrew culture.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at Deuteronomy 15, God told the Hebrew, when you are releasing your slaves, you cannot just release them without furnishing them liberally. You have to give them what they need to be successful. And so there are three relationship dynamics to consider when looking at how or the condition of felons and how they adjust to their condition in society. The first is the master-slave relationship.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, that would be the relationship between the criminal justice system and the felon. The next relationship is the slave to community relationship. That would be the relationship between the felon and the rest of society. The third relationship is the one between the master and the community. Okay, so that would be between the criminal justice system and the rest of society. The third relationship mediates the first two. Okay, and so
It's a triangle.
it's a triangle,
It is.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And so what's happening is the criminal justice system influences the attitudes of the rest of society against the felons. And so what happens is the rest of society openly discriminates against felons. They say, you can't get a job because of your past. You can't
Right.
get a place to stay because of your past. That's open discrimination. And here's a quote from Henry David Thoreau.
Yeah.
He said, a government in which the majority rules in all cases cannot be based on justice, even as far as men understand it. In other words, the majority is not always going to be right.
That's true.
The majority is not always going to be right, but
The people that were down at the bottom of the mountain when Moses came down,
Right.
they weren't right.
right, and they were the majority.
Yeah.
Very good point. Very good point. Very good point. And so that is the issue here.
Yeah.
That is the issue here with they deem them not worthy of rights, and we live in a society where the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
The whiner. Yeah.
The whiner gets
Yeah,
the grease.
yeah.
So, okay, and so
How do you shut the whiner down?
so
How do you shut the whiner down, Ime? How do you? Because it happens every day.
Well-
It happens in our society. It happens in our families. It happens in our government. It happens in our places of employment. How do you shut that whiner down?
well, I wouldn't call it whining when there is an injustice.
If there's an injustice, I agree.
Yes, there is an injustice.
I agree. There should be.
And there is an injustice
Okay.
because, as I explain in the book, prison represents slavery. That's the inside world. Okay, there are two worlds in the American system, in the American society. You have the inside world and you have the outside world. The inside world is prison. The outside world is free society. The inside world is slavery. The outside world is freedom. The inside world, you don't need rights to be successful. Okay, the outside world, you need your rights to be successful here. The inside world, you don't need opportunities or responsibilities. Just do what you're told. Okay, I was talking with my mother-in-law. Yeah. Just do what you're told. You'll be successful.
Yeah.
You know,
you'll be fine.
Yeah, do what they tell you to do. You'll be successful. In the outside world, no, you have your opportunities, life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, everything. Okay, and so the problem is when you take somebody from this system, this inside world. Mm-hmm. And bring him into the outside world.
Where he has to be responsible.
Where he has to function responsibly in where he needs his rights.
Has to produce.
Has to produce. Now you tell him he does not have rights which are inalienable, as Thomas Jefferson told us, but you expect him to function like he's in prison. That's a problem, and that is an injustice.
And that is why so many that have been in prison turn around and go back to prison.
Yes, which is...
because I have known people personally that find it easier to be in jail than to be free.
Because freedom freedom is more of a burden than slavery. Freedom requires more responsibility than slavery. If you look in Exodus 16, when the Israelites and Moses, they had been taken out of Egypt and they were in the desert, and they began to be hungry. There was no food and there was no water. And then they started to complain to Moses saying, hey, why didn't you leave us back in Egypt?
Yeah, we had something to eat back
there. You brought us out here to suffer. They were not ready for the...
And in the American society, I understand it's an easy book to read.
Yes.
It's not a big, long read. It won't take a lot. It won't take that long. This book is available at Barnes & Noble here in the mall in Jonesboro. Also, where else can they find it? Find it online?
Amazon, Books A Million, and I do have a book signing coming July 8th at the Barnes & Nobles from 1 to 4 p.m. And so
at Barnes & Noble here in Jonesboro.
Yes, here in Jonesboro.
From 1 to 4 on July the 8th. Yeah. Good luck with this book. I like the way you think.
Thank you.
It sounds like if we were in a perfect world, you'd be part of it. And I appreciate you being in bringing this to light with us this morning. It's 23 before 9. Everything Country's on the Wolf. Good morning.